One of the things you're going to gain in this class that you won't gain hardly anywhere else is we tell you of the approximate age of Daniel in each chapter. The first thing I want you to know is the book of Daniel is written outside of chronological order. Chapter 5 happens, and then chapter 11 happens the next day. Chapter 6 happens when he's 81 years old on purpose. I have the picture of a young Daniel being thrown into the lion's den. If you take your book and turn to page 30B, then you'll see I have 3 pictures, 2 of which Daniel is old. Daniel was approximately 81 when they threw him in the lion's den. He was not a young kid. So I'm going to briefly go over each chapter, quick, to let you know what we're going to be discussing. The first chapter deals with them being brought into Babylonian captivity. The second chapter deals with an image that King Nebuchadnezzar saw, a dream, and Daniel interpreted it, and God told him what the interpretation was. The third chapter begins with Nebuchadnezzar setting up an image of gold and telling the people to worship that image, which the people did not all worship the image. We'll go over that. And then they were thrown into the fiery furnace. 3 Hebrew boys. What were their names? And Abednego. Somebody said a bad Negro. No, it's Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. My little child thought they were saying a bad Negro all this time, and I had to tell him, no, it's Abednego. And so Nebuchadnezzar, in the 4th chapter, the prophecy of the 7 times. This is going to be a lot of fun when we get to this, because the Jehovah's Witnesses teach the prophecy of the 7 times. And I need to tell you what the truth on the prophecy of the 7 times is. The 5th chapter, my personal favorite in the book of Daniel, is 2 chapters. One is the 5th chapter of Daniel, because this chapter lets leaders know they're not going to get away if they don't do right. They may shut you down, they may get quiet, they may push you out and ostracize you, but they still got to pay for what they do. Lord, my mother, I can see her now with us 14 children. You can get mad and puff and huff and go on a tantrum, but you still getting the whipping. And so she'd let you work yourself out. Just go out. She wouldn't chase you through the house. She let you. Now, my daddy would chase you, not my mama. My mama would say, when you get tired, I want you right back here. And she'd catch up with you, and you still getting the whipping. I could hear her saying that now. You still getting the whipping. The 5th chapter is God saying you still getting it. And old Nebuchadnezzar's son, Belshazzar, the king, the hand wrote on the wall. All right. Then the 6th chapter goes into the prophecy, his being thrown into the lion's den. Up to this point, chapter 1 through chapter 6, there's only 2 prophecies. The prophecy of the image, the prophecy of the 7 times. All the rest of these are events, but the handwriting on the wall was also a prophecy. Then we get to where it gets interesting. In the 7th chapter, Daniel sees 4 beasts: lion, bear, leopard, and a great dreadful beast. Those 4 beasts that Daniel saw was the same interpretation as the image, but many, many years later. Then we get to the man clothed in linen in the 9th chapter. The prophecy of the Messiah. When we pick up the 8th chapter, the ram and the he-goat, we'll pick up over here. And we'll catch the 8th chapter, and the 9th chapter, and the 11th chapter, and the 10th chapter. All of that is on this chart. But I gave you copies in your book. When you end the book of Daniel, the 12th chapter, it ends with the Ancient of Days, the Lord himself. God was only showing Daniel a little bit, and he wound up showing him all the way into our day. Then in the 10th chapter, there's an interesting fight between Michael and the archangel. and Michael had a fight with the king of Persia. I know you might know there's a movie out now called The King of Persia. Prince of Persia. It refers to this. They had a fight, and it's written weirdly because the angel is saying, the Prince of Persia and I had a fight, and God withstood him. All that has a meaning even in our time. Now, overall, the big picture is, if you understand the prophecies of Daniel, Revelations is not that hard.